Hi, I'm Conor Svensson, founder and CEO of Web3 Labs. We're a blockchain technology company. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how blockchain is great at simplifying cross-party or complex business processes. So when we talk about a complex business process, what do we mean? We're talking about a process that spans the multiple organizational boundaries or multiple entity boundaries within an organization. Basically, it's something that is very complex and has a number of different dependent parts in it, and within those dependent parts, something that can't just be contained within, say, a single unit of an organization. So these tend to be processes that happen within large organizations, and also as well where you have processes that, say, span a supply chain or something similar like that. In this image here, we articulate, an example of what a complex or cross-party business process could be. Rather than going into all the details here, the point is that you have companies A, B, and C, and there's a workflow that needs to take place where company A needs to talk to company B to approve some event from happening before it can then something can be approved for company C to actually do. Along each of these steps, though, these different companies have to talk to one another as well as update their own internal systems. So it's basically a spaghetti web of these processes talking to one another. When we introduce a blockchain, we actually put the complex business process onto the actual blockchain itself, and then it runs as a smart contract or code there, which is governed by rules which these different organizations agree on. The great advantage of doing this is that all three of these companies have a common view on this complex process, and also they don't have to maintain their own records associated with it either to track what's happening. They all have the same single source of truth, which is actually the blockchain that's being deployed here. So the characteristics of these are where we actually have these processes that touch multiple external entities. It could be within a large organization, one country's subsidiary talking to another country's subsidiary, or it could be that one company is actually talking to a supplier or a number of different suppliers. But the point is that there needs to be a number of different transactions taking place in order for the overarching process to actually happen, going from A to B. So we see this a lot in terms of use cases. Supply chain's a great place to give examples here. So where we have a asset or commodity, say, being transferred from one part of the world to another, it needs to go, there's a number of different processes that need to happen. One of these, for instance, is what's called a bill of lading, which is when a container ship has some goods on top of it and it comes into port, then the bill of lading basically says, what's held within that, and also is a physical document that is used by the people who ultimately receive it to see that it's not been tampered with along the way. By digitizing this, you gain efficiencies in the process because it's something, you have a digital document that cannot be tampered with, whereas without the digitization, you literally have a physical document that you might have scans of that's being emailed around between different stakeholders, but you have no way of guaranteeing the authenticity of it, and also, of course, it can get lost and so on. Whereas by digitizing it and putting it on a blockchain, you have the ability for multiple stakeholders to actually see it and interact with it along the way, and also have authenticity guarantees as well. And this is something that a company called Komgo have done to great effect with their digital bill of lading for their supply chain platform. We also see it as well with transparency of supply chains as well. So as just mentioned with the digital bill of lading, if you think about this document, it's going through multiple intermediaries as it goes from A to B, and by it residing on a blockchain, you actually have the confidence that it hasn't been tampered with there. We see it too as well with financial reporting and reconciliations. A great example here is Microsoft and their Xbox with the finance department. So when game publishers were due to be paid royalties by Microsoft, there was a slow reconciliation process that would have to take place every month. It would basically take 30 to 45 days from when the process started to the publishers actually being paid. By putting this information onto an actual blockchain that had visibility, internally within the different departments of Microsoft's Xbox function, they were able to actually reduce the payout times from over a month to being literally a matter of hours. And so this is another area that blockchain is really well suited for in terms of complex business processes, where you have these accounting systems that span across multiple business units, and it's hard to have a single source of truth because you might have have multiple databases or different accounting platforms used in different places. And so by using a blockchain here, all of these different parts of the organization we use to have this common frame of reference, and from that they were able to streamline the payout process, which was obviously a huge advantage for the actual publishers in receiving their royalties. We've seen it as well with insurance claim management too. So typically with a insurance policy, you have the person who sells the insurance policy, but then you also have the underwriter as well, and then the person who buys the insurance policy too. Wakam, who used to be known as La Parisienne Assurances in Paris, they're an insurance company who have used blockchain to great effect here as well, where they actually digitize versions of the insurance policies that exist as blockchain smart contracts, and then when there is a claim that needs to be made, the person making the claim and the actual underwriter can have this common frame of reference, which is the digital smart contract, which can also be used to actually track the history of interactions with the end customer as well, which can help reduce fraud and these sorts of things too. So there you have it. So blockchain is great at reducing these complex business processes or cross-party business processes. You can think of it as being, where you have processes that have, multiple external entities that they have to deal with, or it could be that you have an intermediary in the middle. But either way, the point is that you can actually, reduce your reliance on these intermediaries and also provide a single source for these different, organizations or business units to use to actually make life simpler for everyone with it. If you'd like to learn more about this, I encourage you to sign up to one of our upcoming Principles of Successful Blockchain Deployments. I'd also love to hear your comments as well below on this. Thank you.